Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Senate bill that wants to regulate adult businesses could soon be heading to the governor's desk. And we'll take a look at how opioids are still affecting the Commonwealth years after it was first introduced.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are coming up on 5:30 on Wednesday, March 20th. Now let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, everyone. Clear skies, mild temperatures. We'll take it after the cool stuff the last couple of days, right? Mid-40s outside our door at WYMT, and the weather headlines for today. We had the elevated fire risk yesterday. Guess what? Same deal again today. Dry, mild, breezy. Cold front swings through late this afternoon into this evening. Behind it, colder air. Could be a hard freeze tonight, setting the stage for a cooler day Thursday. Temperature-wise right now, we're all in the 40s, close to 50 as you make way toward Monticello, back toward Jonesville and Wise. Yeah, you're stuck in the 30s, 28 at Grundy, and that's because we have a southerly wind all over Tennessee and into Kentucky. Cold front back to the north and west. That swings through again late this afternoon to this evening. In the meantime, enjoy the sunshine and bask in it as well. Some late day clouds and a forecast high this afternoon up to 62. More about your First Alert 7-day forecast as we head through this half hour. Olivia?
All right, Tim, thank you. In Eastern Kentucky, radio icon has died. Little Jim Morgan was a radio broadcaster for 55 years before retiring in 2019. Morgan earned his broadcasting license at the age of 15. Morgan's dad, James, or Big Jim, started his radio broadcasting career in 1946 at WHLN in Harlan. We do not know funeral arrangements for Little Jim Morgan at this time, but we will have that for you on WYMT once we find out. A bill to limit and regulate adult-oriented businesses in the state is another step closer to the governor's desk. Senate Bill 147 cleared a House committee Tuesday afternoon and now heads to the floor for a vote. Kelsey Soto has the latest from Frankfort.
This bill, it just seems mean.
After some changes, Senate Bill 147 no longer specifies drag shows, but does look to limit adult-oriented businesses and performances from being within one city block of a place where children might be, like a school, church, library, or public building.
What in the world are we thinking? How can we be for somebody dressing up like a lady or like a woman and reading books to our kids?
Opponents say it unfairly targets specific people and groups, limiting their expression of art. Bob Hellringer spent 23 years as a Republican lawmaker in the legislature. He's now an attorney representing the Fairness Campaign. His message directed straight to those in his own party.
If you want to be prejudiced, we live in a free country and you can do that, okay? But when you write it in the law, that's different. That's wrong.
Supporters believe it will protect children from obscene matter.
It's a practical bill. It's needed. I think the families, parents and grandparents would appreciate the passage of this, and the Commonwealth Policy Center is fully in support of this as well.
It passed favorably through committee on Tuesday. The debate will continue in the Capitol as the clock winds down on the 2024 session. In Frankfort, Kelsey Soto, WKYT.
Only 2 representatives voted no on the bill in yesterday's committee hearing. Both are Democrats from Northern Kentucky. Senate Bill 147 has already cleared the full Senate. It has one last hurdle on the House floor. A Jackson County couple is facing charges accused of trying to sell their newborn twins. Jacqueline Keith and Zachary Davis are both charged with promoting human trafficking. According to the arrest report, authorities were contacted by Davis' sister-in-law, who told them the couple had agreed to sell their newborn twin girls to her for $5,000. Davis and Keith were placed under arrest. They were taken to the Jackson County Detention Center. An Ohio man and woman are facing charges after police found approximately 1 kilogram of suspected meth during a traffic stop in Johnson County. KSP Post 9's drug interdiction team arrested 20-year-old Michaela Garner and 22-year-old Antoine Freeman, both of Akron, Ohio, last week. Along with the drug charge, Garner also faces a speeding violation. Garner and Freeman were taken to the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. A Union College student was charged with assault. Police arrested Tony Norman Saturday morning. He was taken to the Knox County Detention Center. Norman is listed on the Union College football roster. Union College administrators released a statement to WYMT saying, quote, "We are aware of an off-campus incident involving a student and a non-student. As a matter of policy, we do not comment on ongoing litigation. We will await the outcome of the legal process before determining any further action," end quote. A controversial mural has caused debate on the University of Kentucky's campus for decades now. When UK announced the planned removal of the mural back in 2020, a lawsuit was filed halting those plans. Some have taken issue with the mural's depiction of enslaved African Americans. The mural was installed by Anne O'Hanlon back in 1934. Hanlon's niece, Tanya Berry, and her husband, Wendell, filed the lawsuit. This week, a judge granted the university's motion to dismiss the lawsuit, writing that the Berrys lack standing to bring this action.
I think if people think it's offensive, then they should get rid of it. Obviously, I haven't seen it in person, but it doesn't seem like it's something that needs to be up anymore.
UK spokesperson Jay Blanton says the school is pleased with the judge's decision. He says the school's intent remains to maintain and move the mural, but he could not speak about the next steps. Parents awaited for answers outside a Madison County high school after a lockdown Tuesday morning. Police say they are investigating a possible swatting call. 3 hours later, the school lifted its lockdown. Even though students are safe, parents are still coming to terms with what it could have been.
You're in shock, not knowing that it's this close to home. You hear it in other places, but to know that it's close to home, it really, sinks in reality. It happens.
Madison County Schools posted on Facebook thanking everyone for their support, encouragement, and patience during this process. Too many families are still paying the price decades after OxyContin first flooded into eastern Kentucky. Now we better know the risk of opioid pills. So why do these same places still have some of the highest dispensing rates in the country? Garrett Weimer investigates.
Chastity Combs has seen changes.
It's not like it used to be.
She's talking about the availability of opioid pills on the street, but she could be talking about herself.
The last time I went to jail, I just decided I wanted better for my life.
Once addicted to meth and heroin, she's now a peer support specialist at the Rebound Center in Hazard, helping folks in this same community she was born in, grew up in, and for 25 years struggled in.
One time it can be your last.
It's a common story across the Commonwealth. Eastern Kentucky was once considered ground zero in the opioid epidemic. Advocates have made progress. Overdose deaths, climbing for years, dropped in 2022. But if the initial influx of these prescriptions into Appalachia created mountains of problems here, what does it mean that some sources never stopped flowing?
Well, this is a real challenge across our nation. It's a real challenge here in Kentucky.
Van Ingram is executive director of the Kentucky Office of Drug Control Policy. He praised steps over the past decade plus that have significantly dropped the number of highly addictive opioids prescribed, but said he's still somewhat concerned that Kentucky's dispensing rate remains well above the national average. An NIH study found that county-level opioid dispensing rates are directly associated with individual-level prescription opioid misuse, frequency of misuse, and dependence. Several Kentucky counties have among the highest opioid dispensing rates of any locality in the country. In 2022, the most recent year with available data, Perry County had the third highest nationwide. It was 8 times the national rate. Ingram attributes the higher dispensing rates in Kentucky and other nearby states to regional health.
Our people, just like folks in Mississippi and West Virginia and Tennessee, are not the healthiest in the nation. We have a lot of chronic diseases, a lot of heart disease, a lot of diabetes, cancer. All of that, I think, contributes to that higher prescribing rate.
Policies have helped reduce it. Ingram says changes implemented in 2012 about opioid use for chronic pain dropped the number of units prescribed by 100 million doses by 2013. Further steps in 2017 set a dosage level of just 3 days for acute pain. He says they've worked closely with industry groups about opioid stewardship, efforts he calls ongoing and fruitful.
We've got good things happening, but there's still so much work to be done.
Chastity Combs was once a client herself at the Rebound Center. Now she uses her story to help others.
Where it's a small town, most of them knew me before, and I feel like my job here is just to give them hope.
But even as advocates also find hope in the decline of prescription opioids,
now it's more heroin, fentanyl, methamphetamine.
They know there's always something else out there.
The prescription pills that you can buy, you have to worry about them being pressed and having fentanyl in it too.
That's why they know that even as things change, their mission will never stop. In Perry County, Garrett Weimer, WYMT Mountain News.
The CDC says right now prescription opioids are not a primary driver of drug overdoses, but they do contribute to opioid-related deaths. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the KY Help call center can connect you with treatment. Call 833-8KY-HELP. You can also find treatment programs near you online at findhelpnowky.org. The search for Kentucky's next education commissioner is down to one finalist. Interviews for 3 candidates started Monday. The Board of Education was considering finalist Buddy Berry, Robbie Fletcher, and Jim Flynn. The Kentucky Department of Education just announced they voted to enter into contract negotiations with one of those finalists, but they did not say who. The name of the candidate will be announced if the contract is approved. Officials with Congressman Hal Rogers' office say they have secured funding worth $5 million for one eastern Kentucky county. The $5 million will go toward improving the water system in Martin County. Officials say about $18.5 million has been secured for water and wastewater improvements since 2017. And officials with Congressman Rogers' office also say $45 million is secured for Somerset's northern bypass. The new road will connect the Hal Rogers Parkway at the Kentucky 461 interchange to the Cumberland Parkway at the US 27 interchange. The northern bypass will seamlessly connect to the new interchange that was completed last year at Kentucky 461 and Kentucky 80 in Pulaski County. We have more about both of these on WYMT.com. And still to come, earlier in the week, the Country Music Hall of Fame welcomed a new member to join its halls forever.
And it's a mile starting across eastern and southern Kentucky this Wednesday morning. Does that mean a mile finish? We'll let